It's been 5 years since Shamima Begum left the UK, aged as 15, to join Islamic State in Syria. She was found last year in a refugee camp and later had her British citizenship revoked by the government on security grounds.
Well, in July, the Court of Appeal ruled the only way she could take part in a fair hearing against the government's decision was if she came back to the UK. However, the Supreme Court has subsequently been told allowing her return would create significant security risks. So, should she be allowed back? We're joined now by Tasneem Akunji, who is Shamima Begum's family lawyer, as well as Mesa Gifford, an anti-ISIS campaigner who travelled to Syria to fight with the Kurdish YPG militia against ISIS in 2014. Very good morning to both of you. Tasneem Akunji, is Shamima Begum still a threat?
Well, throughout the 5 years, our position towards the government has been to keep them informed of where Shamima and her friends were from time to time. Now, from 2015 to 2019, at no point was Shamima or indeed her cohort of colleagues from school stripped of citizenship by the Home Secretary. It was only when she appeared in the tabloid press did that stripping take place. Say that no, she wasn't a threat, and she was not assessed to be a threat throughout the entire 5 years up until February 2019.
Well, hang on. If she supports ISIS, or she did, and she was radicalised and desensitised to what happened, surely there is the possibility that she poses a threat.
Well, there's always a possibility, but if we compare her situation to, let's say, the brother of the Area Underground concert bombing, Mr. Abedi, the British government spent a lot of time and effort securing Mr. Abedi in Libya and then extraditing him back to the UK, where he faced trial for 22 counts of murder. He was subsequently found guilty and will spend the next 55 years of his natural life in prison.
So your point is that even if she might pose a threat, that shouldn't prove a hindrance to her returning to the UK?
Well, the Court of Appeal quite clear. Should she be returned to the UK, the Home Office would then impose added restrictions on her in order to mitigate any potential or possible threat that she may offer.
You know, my issue with all this is that we keep being told she was only 15, she got radicalised and so on. But when she was 19, she compared the Manchester bombing to people being killed on the ISIS side and said it was justified. And I'm sorry, you know, she goes over there, she has a number of children by an ISIS fighter, she's completely indoctrinated with these assassins, and then she says that the slaughter of young pop fans in this country is justified. I don't trust her. I think she's dangerous. I think she's radicalised. And I don't understand why on earth she can't see justice in Syria, where she chose to make her bed with an ISIS fighter.
Well, I mean, as I say, the government, the government made it quite clear that the appropriate thing for one of those involved in the bombing, i.e. Mr. Abedi, was extradited back to the UK and faced UK justice in a UK trial, being judged by a jury of his peers. Okay. And we say, well, it's rather important that that took place in that case, Mr. Abedi being a very dangerous person and our responsibility, he being a British citizen and having committed a crime in the UK.
OK, let's bring in Mesa Gifford. Mesa, you know ISIS well. You've been an anti-ISIS campaigner. What do you make of this?
Well, Mr. Kunji has just said that there's always a possibility that she could commit a crime in the UK. Now, what do we owe Shamima Begum? This is a young lady that has spent the past 5 years in Syria and Iraq, where they've been butchering people. She's been classified by MI5 as a real and current threat to national security. Over the past 5 years, we don't know what kind of ideological and military training that she's gone through. And I totally agree that she should face justice in Syria, the place where she committed her crimes.
Mr. Gifford, it's an interesting legal point, though, isn't it? Whatever you might think and the horror of what she signed up to or thought she signed up to, we do demand the extradition of pretty unsavoury characters back to
But that's because their crimes
country
were in this country. And that's,
in
to me,
order
the distinction.
to face justice.
Well, that's the distinction Mesa Giver just made, though, is that her crimes were in Syria. She should face the justice where the crimes were committed. We extradite these people back here to face justice for crimes they commit on UK soil. I think there's a clear distinction.
But this is the whole point, is that facing justice might not be possible out where she is at the moment. So we need her back here.
We need to invest. The SDF, the group that I fought alongside, these people lost 12,000 fighters in the fight against the Islamic State. In Raqqa, I fought in stairwells, I fought in alleyways. Dozens of my close friends, including 8 British men, were killed fighting in Syria. We don't owe Shamima Begum anything. She chose to go to Syria. She ripped up her passport. And my book, I entitled it Fighting Evil. And that is exactly what we're facing in Syria. To allow evil, not just Shamima Begum, but all international volunteers that joined ISIS, to return back to the UK will swamp MI5. It will cost us millions of pounds to go through a whole judicial process, to go through protecting them and changing their identity when we finally set them free. So we've got to put the British public first on this one. Lives are at stake.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, let's go back to Tasneem Akunji. I mean, this is the bottom line. These crimes were committed in Syria. She was there for many, many years, having a number of children with this ISIS fighter who was committing utter atrocities. She's been deemed a threat to national security. You, by your own admission, say you can't guarantee she won't commit another crime when she gets back here. There's no suggestion independently that she's been unradicalised whatsoever. In fact, her comments about things like the Manchester attack suggest the complete opposite. Why the hell should we? Sorry, but why should we?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's interesting to say that we should send or make sure that Shamima Begum remains in Syria to face her crimes. Of course, when Mesa Giver was fighting in Syria, he was committing a crime against the Syrian government. So do you expect that we should deport Mesa over to Syria so that he can face justice at Assad's hands for a crime he committed in Syria? So the logic applies both ways.
Well, let's ask Mesa.
Well, I've never fought Assad. I fought the Islamic State. Assad is a dictator, and I really hope the British government doesn't deport me to Assad. At the end of the day, I went to Syria because I was motivated by the plight of the Yazidi people. Thousands of them, including girls as young as 3 years old, were sold into sexual slavery. And I wanted to go and put myself between ISIS and them. People go all the time to join the French Foreign Legion and to go abroad to volunteer for the Israeli army. For me, to join a non-terrorist group in defense of local people against a vicious terror group like ISIS is not a crime in the UK. So I'm quite clear on that. And what we should be focusing on is actually the real criminals, the people who have joined ISIS, who supported the murder of the Yazidi people, who supported the terror attacks in Manchester and London Bridge. The British public just have to be put first on this one. And I totally support the British government's efforts in not only Shamima, but all of them with their citizenship.
Mesa Gifford, thank you very much indeed. And to Tasneem Akunji, thank you very much indeed as well. We appreciate it.